Hendrik here, and I'm making you my favorite French onion soup. You're gonna love this. So to start, what you want to do is you want to cut the onion. I'm going to cut this onion into bite-sized pieces. So I've sliced the half in half. So then you want to slice this up here. Perfect. Pieces so they fit on your spoon, they don't fall over the place. I'm going to put this in here. About 6 cups of onions, 3 quarts of beef stock, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of sherry, 1/2 cup of beurre manier, some thyme, salt and pepper. Let's go cook it. You also need a little olive oil. So to start with the onion soup, you're going to need a good sized pot. Not too deep is better, you know, just like this. I'm going to put just a hair of olive oil here. The pot is hot. I'm going to put the 6 cups of onions straight in here. There we go. And I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of butter, just like that. Give this a quick stir just to get it going. There we go. The butter's going to help that. It's going to help it caramelize. And that's what we want to do with the onions right now. It seems like we have a lot of onions, but it's onion soup. So to this, I'm also going to add the little thyme I have, a few sprigs of thyme that have been tied together. They're strictly for flavor. Later on we'll take that out. Want to give it a bit of salt here to help those onions to start breaking down. And then a spin of pepper. I'm going to let them sweat and caramelize. So it hasn't been quite 10 minutes, but you know, it's beginning to break down here. Yeah, I'm going to just give it a stir to make sure, you know, it doesn't catch on the bottom, you know. There we go. And we're going to let them to continue to cook here. It's on high, you know, it's just, there's lots of water in the onions and we want to get rid of some of that, you know, so that the natural sweetness in the onion begins to give it a nice sweet flavor, and that's what's going to make that soup so delicious. The onions are continuing to cook here, and now, as you can see here, it's beginning to caramelize. You see the little, getting a little darker, the actual sugars in the onions are beginning to catch a little bit. This gives it a nice color, and you want this to happen. Now at this stage you got to really watch it and turn it a little bit. Traditionally you would just put flour in here. I don't like doing that, and I'm going to tell you why. When I put the flour in, the moisture in the onions makes like little lumps, and I don't like that. So I'm going to just go ahead and put the beurre manier straight in here. Let that melt into the onion, and it'll begin to thicken the onions right away. You see how it's beginning to become thick here? There we go. You don't really have to do too much, just enough to get that flour and butter through the onion, just like that. And then at this point in time, I'm going to add that sherry. 1/2 cup of sherry. And I'm going to let that cook in there just a little bit. There we go. It's already begun to thicken. So now I'm going to add the beef stock. Just like that. There we go. We're going to let this come back up to a boil. And then we're going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And this onion soup will be ready. So now it's begun to boil, and I'm just going to taste it now to adjust for the salt and pepper. Careful, it is boiling. Delicious. And now we're going to turn it down to like a medium-low. The soup has been simmering for about 20 minutes. I'm going to give it a stir here. It smells absolutely delicious. So the soup is ready, and now I'm going to go ahead and put it in the crock and put the cheese on. Pull these crocks up. You can have big ones, little ones, any size you want. You know, traditionally it is a little crock. Some crostini or some little croutons. Today I have some Swiss cheese, some provolone cheese, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. There we go. I put the bread on, or the croutons, and to this I'm going to add the provolone cheese right here. I'm going to put a slice of provolone cheese just like this on top, and then some Swiss cheese like that, and then I'm going to put a little bit of Parmesan cheese shredded on top. That's going to help it get some color quickly when we put it underneath the broiler. We're underneath the broiler now, and you see them bubbling. What we want is a little color. So, you know, you have to watch it at this stage, because once it gets color, it'll burn very quickly. You can place them on a plate just like this if you want, or you can make it a little fancier and put them in a napkin fold. This is an artichoke fold for a napkin, and then they can go to your table, and it makes a great meal or just a starter depending on the size of your crock. You enjoy!